Hello everybody, my name is Daniel, and can Avengers Endgame snag some Oscars? For most to least likely, here are 5 categories where I think Avengers Endgame could earn Oscar love. Starting with number 1, visual effects. A nomination seems like a no-brainer. Disney owns the visual effects category as of late. Last year, Avengers Infinity War was arguably the frontrunner until First Man sneaked out from underneath to edge out a win. So I think for a nomination, it's plain and simple as day. Avengers Endgame is going to be there. As for a win, the strongest competition is actually another Disney movie, which is The Lion King. The Jungle Book won Best Visual Effects in 2016, so we could see a repeat of that similar style of visual effects winning. But if the Academy's sick of it, I don't think, as of now, there's an Ex Machina style dark horse that'll sneak from underneath, so I could see the Avengers sneaking out a win here. Number 2, score. Marvel won Best Score last year with Black Panther, and this year, Alan Silvestri is no stranger to the Academy Awards. He's been nominated twice. I don't think he's ever won. He did get nominated for Forrest Gump. And Silvestri has created one of those themes that in the 21st century, or at least the 2010s, is the big theme. We haven't really gotten anything past Inception's so that Avengers da 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 da, the singable melody, the one that can get in your head, the hooky stuff. I think the Academy might want to recognize Silvestri for those years of work with the MCU and sort of the impact that he's had. If you mention sort of the top 5 composers right now, it would be John Williams, Hans Zimmer, God, I just had him in my head. Potentially Alexandre Desplat for the sort of indie art house crowd, Michael Giacchino, and I think Silvestri might pop in as like a possible 5 or 6. Number 3, adapted screenplay. I'm actually most excited to talk about adapted screenplay because of one word: Logan. The superhero genre bias has been chipped in a little bit, and I think in a year with limited adapted screenplay contenders, there's a really good chance that the Academy would want to recognize the sort of feats of putting all the 22 movies together, the sequel to Infinity War, the strength of its own movie. It's gotten higher critical praise than Infinity War, so I think this is a way for the Academy to sort of celebrate that feat without potentially giving it the big prizes. As for the win, I'm not sure. There are often lots of strong contenders for the adapted screenplay positions, so I can't quite say it'll squeak away with a win quite yet, but I still think a nomination would mean a lot for the impact of this kind of franchise. Number 4, picture. Let me try not to naysay and go, what does Avengers need to get a Best Picture nomination? You need the box office champ. It's like you need the number 1 claim. You also need that critical die-hard love. And not just, the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores. I mean, whenever you start seeing the critics at the end of the years for each city put out their list, Endgame needs to be on those nominated top 10 lists. It needs to be part of the National Board of Review, the PGA's top 10 of the year. It needs to remain in people's minds because this is still a relatively early time for Oscar contention. This didn't have quite the social impact, I would say like the social issue impact as something like Black Panther or Get Out had. So even though those movies did come out earlier in the year, they did kind of bring in this huge wave of attention that carried over throughout the end of the year. I also think you need some good old-fashioned muscle with marketing. Disney needs to put their weight behind Endgame as a Best Picture contender. And where Disney might be conflicted trying to get Lion King a nomination, it might be trying to get, I'd say Frozen 2 in the animated feature, they might have all their eggs spread in different baskets. And so for something like Endgame to sneak into Best Picture, this sort of crazy whiz-bang superhero movie that doesn't quite have the sort of relevant CNN talking points of the day front and center, I think you really need a lot of attention to put that in Best Picture. However, the impact, the history, the power of the franchise, the Academy Awards has a history currently of awarding that sort of popcorn movie the nomination, whether it be Mad Max Fury Road or, like I said, Black Panther previously. So is it a completely out of the realm of possibility? No. But it's going to be a tough uphill battle. That's weird to say for arguably one of the biggest movies of all time, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle in this Academy. Number 5, actor. Weird conversations I've been hearing, and I thought about this just kind of off a whim when I was making this list, and then I started hearing some podcasts talking about this. There could be a potential for Robert Downey Jr. to land a Best Actor nomination. I think we forget in 2003 Johnny Depp was nominated for Captain Jack Sparrow at the Oscars. That weirdo, crazy performance made it to the top 5 Best Actors of the year. So, if there's a massive Marvel campaign for Downey Jr. and his body of work, this would be a career-type thing. There's the narrative of he was down in those drug-addicted years and he came back, became the biggest movie star in the world. There is an element of like, yeah, it might be Robert Downey's time. You never really know. I think it all depends on the actor race this year, who we're really riding or dying for, who the critics are ride or dying for mostly, and whether this new makeup of like a younger, more hip Academy is really going to give Downey that love and that sort of entrance. Is it a DiCaprio-level body of work? I wouldn't say so. So there is that element of like, is it his time? Maybe, maybe not. I think there's a small possibility, like maybe like a 15% that he gets nominated. But I know everybody in the Marvel fan base is going to ride or die on that 15%. So I'm hoping it happens. It might be a really fun Oscar season this year. Who knows? So that's it. Those are 5 categories that I think Avengers Endgame could snag some Oscar love for. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Give me your ideas. If there's something like cinematography or sound editing or mixing or film editing in general that you think could Joe and Anthony Russo get a Best Director nomination? Y'all let me know all that in the comment section below. If you like the video, like it, share, subscribe, all that. And thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care.